So what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the classic patterns that happen with the posture syndrome and how they can be used to eliminate any and every pain that you have, any stiffness, numbness, tingling, all these kinds of things that happen. Well, not every. The large percentage of, some things are biochemical, nutritional, and things like that, and even mental, emotional. I've had back pain people come in and forever, and it's because, why? Because they keep having this horrible disc issue show up with pain down the leg, and we found out that after she and her boyfriend split up, it all went away. Okay? You know, and it wasn't because he was hitting her in the back. She was hitting herself in the back because she knows she needed to, there was something going on there, right? And I've seen, I had a friend in chiropractic school who was engaged to be married. And all of a sudden he got these, he couldn't even, nobody can figure it out. I don't understand, where's this pain coming from? Broke off his engagement, everything goes away. Okay, so don't think it's all physical. It's that body-mind thing. It's like your body's going to show up whenever there's things going on in your mind that aren't right, or aren't right to you, or somehow, some way. So, but by fixing these crossed posture syndromes, as I'm going to talk about, we can fix a lot of these mechanical back pain. You know, stuff that hurts when I get up. I'm stiff for the first. I've been riding for 3 hours. I get out and I'm stiff for the first few seconds, and then it hurts kind of stiff all day long and never really kind of goes away. It's just kind of there. Or the shoulder is just kind of aches a lot. I can't go to sleep at night because it kind of aches a little bit. That kind of stuff, we can get rid of a lot by figuring the system out. Here's what happens. Stress, boom. There's a predictable system. Crossed posture syndrome, upper cross. Whenever your body goes under stress, head goes forward. All these muscles back here go forward. You get tight in these suboccipital muscles. You get tight in the upper trapezius muscles. These guys here, right? So you go up and forward like this. And I'm over exaggerating, of course, but maybe not for some. You get tightness. So there's a tightness in the back, and then what happens is there's also a tightness in the front. So there's a cross between the front and the back of tightness. You see that? Tight, tight. So whenever there's tightness, what's there got to be? It's got to be a weakness on the other side of that. So what gets weak is the muscles that take my neck and pull them back, these deep neck flexors that do this, get weakened because these guys have been so tight. These guys get tight. These guys get weak. The other muscles that get weak are the muscles that pull your shoulder blade down and back. Why? Because these guys stress has got me here. So these guys are going to say, well, I'm turning off. If you're going to be up there, I'm just going to check out here. So pretty soon we start walking around uptight. See this? I'm exaggerating, of course, but not for some. I see a lot of people walking around with their teeth gritted, okay, the whole 9 yards. That's the other thing, is you get the teeth come together, all right? And the digastric muscles, they get weak. That's part of the syndrome. So you have this system that all you have to do is get that back in balance, and guess what? The neck joints now, instead of being overloaded and all jammed together back here, can you get my skeleton? These joints get all banged together, and you get this message of stress is going to your system all the time, and the muscles get tight, and they get trigger points in them, and these trigger points cause pain. Trigger points like this. Trigger points. If you can understand trigger points and how they cause pain, I think a lot of things make sense to people with these charts. Because here we are, the suboccipital muscles. Okay? Wait a minute, those are the suboccipitals. These guys get tight trigger points in them. You get these X's, you get the pain pattern that goes right behind the eyes. I get pain right behind the eyes, my forehead and right behind the eyes. I had somebody in the other day said it's I think just I've had a lot of headaches the last couple of weeks. My allergies are flared up. I can feel my sinuses really hurting. And I said, that's funny. Do you have any other sinus symptoms? Are you congested or is your nose running? No, it's just my sinuses. I said, well, let's see. And I got in, we started finding. Of course, she walks in like this, high stress job, works in the medical field, like this, right? Tight, forward. I feel here, oh yeah, there's tightness right there. What's that? She goes, oh, that's the same pain. It's a trigger point referring behind your eyes. Is it your sinuses? Well, I'm not going to say 100% no, possibly, but I'm going to tell you probably not here. We're looking at a trigger point, pain referral pattern. Same thing, upper trapezius, these guys, levator scapulae, right? These levators, the ones that shrug your shoulders up. Trigger points in there. It seems like pain, like mid-back pain, kind of pain down through the shoulder. Those are trigger points in the levator scap from being tight too much. It's a pain pattern. It's a trigger point pattern, not unlike to explain also what a trigger point is. You've heard of people who have heart attacks, and is it only their heart that hurts? You see, my shoulder or my jaw, shoulder, heart trigger point. The muscle in the heart gets stimulated and contracted, and it activates the trigger points, and these are trigger point referral patterns for the heart. Same thing. If you stress this muscle, it's going to send pain behind your eyes. If you stress your piriformis muscle and overwork it, it's going to send pain down your leg. I get like 700,000 people on YouTube have done this stretch right here, and I have over 350 comments of people saying, that's the most amazing thing I've ever done. My sciatica is gone ever since I did that stretch. If I throw it up there real quick. This will tell you.
It's easier if you sit out on the edge.
Sit on the edge of your seat.
As square as possible.
And even if you don't have sciatic pain or anything like that, and this is not going to fix sciatica that comes from a disc, but it's going to fix sciatica that's coming from the muscles in your butt, from trigger points in your butt. Okay? Now, and all you're going to do is just stay, so cross and just stay up as straight as you can, and then you're going to hinge from the hip forward. Okay? So you're not going to let your back round. You're going to keep, like you got a rod up to the back, and you're going to come straight forward. And when you do that, you should feel a stretch come through the back of your hip. And sometimes it'd be like zing, really. And this is great. No. Yeah, you go in and stay and just breathe. Breathe into it, and every time you breathe out, just let it drop a little bit further. Breathe in. Every time you breathe out, let it drop a little, just a little bit further. Yeah. So you may just have to just sit straight up and cross the leg. And there's a lot of people who they just can't get in this position because their legs are so tight or their hips are so tight. So this is diagnostic for hip tightness, hip congestion, hip compression, hip dysfunction, and so that needs to be addressed. So it looks like everybody here's got pretty good. Actually, I'm surprised. Usually there's one person who's like this. As you cross your leg and get that forward stretch, and I'm leaning a lot forward because I have a looser hip. So don't. But anyway. Case in point, and it feels good, doesn't it? Doesn't that stretch feel good? And what that does is that allows you, whenever you bend forward, you have to have the ability, your hip joint in the back, the hip joint in the back has to have the ability, the posterior capsule, there's this capsule back here, you have to, when you bend forward from the hips, you got to be able to say, I'm hip hinging, right? I'm bending from the hip. My spine is straight. This is me. Okay? It's all happening from the ball and socket joint. I'm not bending like this. This is my spine. This is what causes disc injuries, and so we want to stay away from. This is me rounding. This is me hinging. I should do that the other way. Okay? So this stretch opens up that posterior capsule and allows you to have more free motion whenever you bend over to pick something up. So it's not always, and some of the miraculous healings that happen because of that stretch aren't always because you're fixing a trigger point. Sometimes it's just because, oh yeah, I put my hip joint through its normal range of motion again. That really feels good to my nervous system, and then the whole nervous system goes, thank you. And it stops firing up the pain signals. That ties into lower cross. So finishing upper cross, so I basically did. So you got tightness in the pecs, tightness in the suboccipitals, and you get these pain patterns that come with it, these trigger point patterns that come with it. And the thing is it doesn't have to be a tight muscle to cause a trigger point. It can also be just that it can be a muscle that's gotten weak and just went offline. It just hasn't been working at all. Your brain's like, what muscle? Where? You know, it quit working. Your brain has lost connection to it, and then trigger points form just as readily in the weak muscles as they do in the tight muscles. So trigger points can happen anywhere, anytime, and mostly, hopefully they're not. When they get aggravated and irritated, then they send the pain pattern, and it usually comes along with stress, because the stress makes that pattern even worse. So that's upper cross. Lower cross, you have your forward tilted pelvis and your psoas muscle in the front here. Inside your abdominal cavity, there's the big psoas muscle. See, it goes all the way from your T12, where your mid-thoracic spine, like right in here, all the way down, crosses your hip and attaches into your femur down below. That muscle gets tight from sitting too much. That muscle gets tight from stress, driving, whatever. So you get a lot of tightness in there, and your hips also internally rotate. So you get tightness, and now what does this look like? Well, it looks like a raisin, yes, but it looks pathological, doesn't it? It looks like cerebral palsy, polio. That's what Dr. Yanda discovered, because he was treating a lot of kids with CP and polio back then. He himself got polio as a child. And so this was really on his mind, like, what's going on with these? Because all these people have the same patterns as I have, except they're just much more exaggerated. And it's because it happens to us slowly over time, insidiously. With CP and stuff like that, it happens like in an instant, and all of a sudden it all happens at once. But us, we don't see it happening until you walk into a nursing home and you see everybody doing this. Okay? So lower cross, tight. Whenever your hip goes forward, your back jams together. Whenever your hips go forward, your back jams together. Okay? So you're overloading your spine constantly because of this forward tilted pelvis. I've got tight and tight across. Now I'm going to have a weakness of my ability to get my hips underneath me. So all of these hip muscles that are normally pressing me forward like this. And I'm not necessarily just talking about the glute muscles, although they are important. They're the deeper muscles in the hip. The ones that, remember with cross posture, you not only go in or forward, you also go inward. It's an inward. It's like curling in, right? So there also has to be the opening. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. So not only are you, when you push away from your support points, you're also, if my feet were like on like an oil slick right now, they would be doing this. But I'm sending that spiral, but if my feet don't move, that energy's got to go somewhere. Right here I'm using that energy to put, but if I keep my feet planted and I keep my pillars on the ground, my three pillars, when I say pillars, base of the heel, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, those are really your three support points. The K1 thing kind of goes along with that, but it's more, but these are your real support points, your bony support points that you actually push away from. Whenever you do that, and I'm pushing away from that, I'm automatically sending an external rotation spiral through my body. Does that make sense? Like that energy of the spiral is corkscrewing through me, and when it corkscrews through me, I go up. But I don't give up my power. This is your power. And I want everybody, so that's cross posture. Let me finish this. So it jams up your low back gets irritated. That can send pain down your legs as well. Sclerotone pain. This is stuff that comes from joints. Like you get your L5, your fifth lumbar vertebra down here. If that's all jammed together and irritated, it's going to send a pain pattern all the way down here, even through your butt, down into the top of your legs. L4 goes to your knee. L2, kind of the same pattern. Like S1, your sacrum, that can go down your leg. L3, down the outside of your leg, all the way to here. So it's not only trigger points, it's also joints have their own referred patterns as well. So those you can. So when you take that stress out of the joint, that pain goes away. Okay. So quit overloading this stuff up. So that's the pattern. So your weakness becomes your glutes and your external rotators of your hip. Does that make sense? So adductors, tightness, groin. This is what I see with hip replacement people come in with hip pain. They're really, really tight. And like when I see how far can you open up your leg, and they get to about right there, because the groin muscles stop. Because anytime the hip is under stress, it sends a message to your groin muscle to lock it down. We're not moving. There's too much pain in here. Remember, pain is a stress that draws you in, locks you down. And then once this muscle tightens up, you lose that range of motion in your hip. Once you lose the range of motion in your hip, it doesn't get nutrition. It doesn't get to move. It doesn't get to flow, and it gets sick. It deteriorates. It basically rusts and develops arthritis as rust from not moving or moving improperly. Rust. Yeah. So everything has to be able to go through a full range of motion, right? So sometimes it's just important to just explore space, right, Rebecca? Just try to touch every piece of space around you with every piece that you have and reach, and that will help you to take. It's a simple way of going through a lot of different ranges of motion. Just explore every piece of space you can reach. And if you can't reach something, because that hurts, let's figure that out. What's going on here? There's something wrong. If I can't go to that place, something's wrong that needs to be broken through. The blockage needs to be broken up. The muscle needs to be released. I need to release something in my mind, possibly. Who knows? If I'm too stiff, maybe because I need to change my diet and I don't have enough fluidity in my tissues. But usually, if you go right to left and one arm goes here and one arm goes here, it's not usually because of a nutritional deficiency. It's because there's a blockage in the joint or tightness in the muscle or something like that. So that's upper cross and lower cross posture. And those are the things that I've treated for 14 years, all day long. And it's amazing things happen when you just get this stuff balanced back out.